Charlie just wanted one more race with her before he put her out to pasture, and so he bet his landlord, Mr. Jepson, 50 pounds that Polly could beat Mr. Jepson's new filly on Saturday in the steeplechase. As soon as he made the bet, Charlie regretted it. "Oh, what was I thinking?" he said. "Poor old girl. I'm going to shame her. Oh, and she's been such a faithful horse to me. She's never balked at a ditch. She's never turned from a wall." But yet, a bet was a bet, and Charlie Dodd intended to go through with the race. In fact, later that week, he took Polly to town to get her a new bridle. "If she's going to be shamed, at least she'll look nice when she is," he said. And he did. He bought her a nice bridle. And that night, they were coming home through the moors. It was dark. The moon had gone behind a bank of clouds. And so he slowed her up. He was afraid she might trip over the stones and come up lame, and he couldn't afford that before the race on Saturday. And they were walking along, and suddenly the moon came back up from behind that cloud. And Charlie got a little shiver. And he looked next to him, and there was a head of a horse right there. He hadn't heard that horse at all. And then he realized why. That horse, that head, had no body. And that horse was just floating. The horse passed Polly and got up ahead of her about 2 lengths and set the pace up ahead. Charlie pulled his jacket up around him, and he looked from side to side. He couldn't see anything else. He kept on going. But soon, he heard another set of hooves. And he looked to the side of him, and there was the rest of the horse. Oh, and on that horse, there was a rider. Charlie didn't say a word, but he looked at the man. The man was huge. And as his eyes traveled up that man's body, he saw his shoulders, and then, oh my God, he's got no head at all! Think again, Charlie. And there was a cream cheese head bobbing in and out from under the man's coat. He had long, black, yarn-like hair and a big grin. Oh. So Charlie, he sat up tall in his saddle, he did, and he kept on riding. And that cream cheese head just kept bobbing in and out. I'm going to make him talk. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make him talk. It's a fine evening for a ride. And that cream cheese head just kept bobbing in and out. That's a fine horse you have there. It's the best I've clapped eyes on. Oh, you would say that, you and your ugly mouth. Ah, now he'd gotten the man to talk a little bit again. And Charlie didn't know what got into him, but before he could think, the words were out of his mouth. "You wouldn't be up to racing him tonight, would you?" "Oh, yes, Charlie, I would race with you." And then Charlie had to backpedal. He said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I've got this race on Saturday, and I've got 50 pounds, and I bet, and I can't afford for my horse to come up lame. The night is so dark." And then that cream cheese face was right in front of Charlie. And he said, "Will ya take my word for the safety of your mare?" Done and done and done, and the race was on. Oh, the hooves ran fast and over the moors and down through the gullies and up again. Polly had never run so fast. And they came to the ridge and both horses stopped short. "Charlie, 100 years ago tonight, my horse and I broke our necks at yonder gully. Since that night, I've looked for a man who would race with me, and you're the first. And I beat you. I beat you, I did. Now, if you're going by that horse's head up there ahead, I didn't. But if it's neck to neck, I beat you, holla." He looked at Charlie. "That you have, Charlie. That you have. You've got a tough heart in you, Charlie, and every bit of you is a firm rider. You keep that stout heart and a firm seat. Never balk at a ditch. Never turn from a wall. And the headless horseman will never desert you." And with that, the horse and his rider rose up into the clouds, and they disappeared behind that bank of clouds along with the moon. Oh, when Charlie got home, he couldn't wait to tell the story. And the next night in the pub, he told everyone who would listen about the headless horseman and the headless horse. Oh, that's a good story, Charlie. But no one believed him. But on Saturday, when Charlie's old mare, Polly, beat Mr. Jepson's new filly by more than a length, they started to ask Charlie to tell the story again. And one by one, they began to believe. Never balk at a ditch, never turn from a wall, and the headless horseman will never desert you.